Welcome to MMO Grinder's Sidequest, where I take a look at closed beta and trial subscription games, giving you a quick first impression. Today I'll be looking at Firefall, an upcoming MMOFPS in closed beta that takes place in a futuristic Earth, making use of customizable power armors and jetpack jumping mechanics. This game's getting a lot of praise for its graphics, and I can see why. The game takes a kind of a cel-shaded style, but not a very obvious one, and yet the lighting and environment effects are quite stunning. Hell, I started the game on low settings without even knowing it, and it still looked good. I tweaked some of them to high and was quite impressed, and they weren't even close to maxed out. There's a constant day and night cycle in the world, and it's where the lighting effects really shine. You'll notice the sun slowly starting to set, and before you know it, you're plunged into complete darkness, only able to see the environment and enemies with the use of your flashlight, flares, or other forms of lighting. As expected for an FPS where the goal is to shoot and destroy things, the sounds can be very intense. While the environmental sounds seem a bit laid back, the firing of your guns can almost drown out the rest of the sounds. There's also quite a bit of voice work, as many of your tasks are transmitted via communicator, so there's no walls of text to read when you're tasked with various missions. The game was originally envisioned as a competitive e-sport PvP class-based FPS, and it was later retooled to include the PvE aspect, and it kinda shows, but I'll get into that in a bit. There's 5 classes or battle frames to choose from as of now. Assault, the speed class, Recon, the sniper class, Biotech, the healer class, Dreadnought, the defensive class, and Engineer, the support class that builds all the turrets. While you choose one frame at the start, it seems you're able to unlock and switch out to other frames even on the same character. The game controls like a standard FPS or a third-person shooter, but you can swap the camera from third-person to first-person with a middle mouse button if you so desire. Each class has a primary and secondary weapon and special abilities that can be augmented, upgraded, or replaced with earned experience. The experience acts more of an upgrade currency in this game. There's really no levels beyond how far you've upgraded your current battle frame. At first glance, you might want to compare the game to Borderlands, but it doesn't really play the same way. As of now, missions are gamed automatically or when you enter the right area. This game, first and foremost, controls and plays like a first-person shooter. You steer and aim with the mouse, shoot with left-click or right-click, and there are also hotkey commands for your special abilities and call-down items. Jumping and using your jump jets are both controlled with the spacebar by either tapping or holding. Proper use of your jump jets is essential for navigating the terrain and helps out in combat, but know that you can still take fall damage in this game. You have a limited amount of jump jet boost at a time, but it recharges pretty quickly, usually enough to slow you before taking too much fall damage. As a way to encourage cooperation, any player can revive a down player by pressing E next to them. When you're down, you'll notice a countdown timer in which you can be revived. If you press E, you'll yell for a medic to attract the attention of other players. Alternatively, you can press E next to a downed enemy player or humanoid NPC to finish them off. If you're not a healer class, you'll probably die quite a bit as well. Health regen is painfully slow, and health drops in stations, while plentiful, never seem to be there when you really need them. You also have to worry a lot about your ammo count as well. This game, both story and gameplay-wise, put a major focus on mineral gathering, and this is used mostly in the crafting system. If you're looking for loot like weapons and armor, they don't seem to drop at all, and you'll only see these differing types of crystals that you can collect. These can be manufactured as different items to assist you. Right now, the biggest issue I have with the PvE portion of the game is more than likely due to the fact that it's still in early beta, and the fact that the PvE wasn't the main focus initially. Nothing is very well explained. Despite a pretty strong start with the quest being very straightforward, it quickly starts to assign tasks without adequately explaining how they work. The lack of a proper tutorial seems off, as the game has a lot of quirks that aren't easily discovered on their own, and I was feeling lost pretty fast. The best example I can think of is the upgrade system, which I discovered completely by accident just trying to figure out what keys do what. Another is the glider fast travel system, which doesn't really tell you how it works, and more often than not ended with me plummeting to the ground. It could use some serious streamlining, or at least a clear help or tutorial section. Luckily, there do seem to be people in the game willing to assist you, and others who aren't. The simple request for assistance in the chat got a quick whisper offering to help, and several others in the chat just being bad joke-spewing chuckleheads. If you'd like to shoot some of these people in the face, the PvP is easy to access, and, well, I had a lot of fun with it. It's nice to know that both PvP and PvE are viable forms of improving your character. You can gain not only a good amount of experience, but a lot of the crystals that you craft with. There's quite a few modes to play in, and they're very easily accessed by the terminals in the towns. I'd say the game is off to a good start, with a lot of room for polish. The game admits it's still very early in development, and even the early screens tell you that the game could change drastically even overnight. Sidequest is a first impressions video after all. I'd like to see more focus on the PvE element, as it's pretty empty right now. This is a vast world and has great potential for some exploration and battles within it. As of right now, I'm just a bit tired of shooting bugs while I wait for a drill to finish extracting minerals. There's a whole lot of nothing around the PvE game so far, but I can definitely see this being expanded upon. I look forward to this game's future. This has been an MMO Grinder side quest, and it's time I logged out.